Hello everybody, welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this really pretty lilac satin cowl top. I started off with just recreating a top I basically already had, and a difference from a cowl neck top is that it's wider at the top of the front than a normal like tank top would be. So you could just change that from any top you have if you don't have a cowl neck top already. So I'm just cutting around it with a seam allowance of like 1.5 centimeters. First I cut the front, then I'm doing the back panels, but I'm not doing one big back panel. I'm doing two and then mirroring them because I wanted to cut it on the bias so it falls nicely, and I didn't have enough fabric to cut the entire back panel on the bias in one whole thing. As you can see there at the top that the fabric has a little burnt hole in it. I don't know how that happened. I bought this fabric ages ago and I really wanted to use it finally, so just being inventive with how I use my fabric, but it all worked out in the end, and I don't really mind having a center back seam, so it's all good. So then I am also just cutting out some straps on the bias as well. So then I'm just sewing closed the back seam, and I'm doing French seams. So I'm first just sewing the fabric together right sides facing out, and then flipping it over and then sewing right sides facing each other again, just maybe like 0.5 centimeter from the original seam, so the frayed edges are enclosed in that as well. And before you sew it right sides facing each other again, I'm just trimming a little bit of that seam so it doesn't have too much going on in there. And I also did this with the side seams as well. So every seam is just nice and hidden and nothing is fraying on the inside. So here I am trying to figure out how to cut a facing. I'm not really doing a lining, but I do want to have a facing, especially in the front with that cowl neck top. So I'm just cutting a facing that's about 10-15 centimeters long. So from wherever, like the armhole and the top of the top, and I'm just following that curve as you see there. And then I'm just cutting a straight edge because I think that would just fall nicely, and it doesn't have to be as curvy everywhere. And I'm having a little seam allowance of like 1.5 centimeters as well, I think. I'm piecing stuff together, guys. I was really working with the fabric that I had, and I wanted to create something from this really pretty fabric, and now I'm just sewing the facing together. I'm not doing the French seams on here. I'm just doing straight stitch and then a zigzag stitch to stop the fraying as well. But this is not going to be seen. This is going to be folded inward, so you won't see this at all. So now I'm just doing a rolled hem, and this fabric was hard to work with because it's synthetic satin I think, and it doesn't want to stay in place very well. So just really pinned everything in place before I started sewing. And later I'm gonna also iron this flat as well. But yeah, rolled hem was the way to go, I think. Now I'm just starting on the straps and I'm folding them over right sides facing each other and just sewing it closed so it's like a tube. And then I'm gonna get them inside out, like right sides facing out again. So just with a safety pin pushing it inside out, right side out. I always get confused with this. I hope you know what I mean. Safety pins just work best for me. I think it always works, and this is really smooth fabric, so it's easy to slide through anyway. Okay, so now I'm just placing the facing on, like, right sides facing each other into the top. Just pinning it together because I'm gonna sew this, and then do remember that you have to put the straps in as well, so I'm gonna be doing that later. I'm just pinning it where it needs to go, and you can see the edges are not perfect, but these are going to be hidden, so that's totally fine. I'm just sewing this in place here because you probably can see that I forgot to put the straps in, and I have to do this later. That was really stupid of me, but I figured it out in the end, and I had to pick a little, but that is fine. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. But I'm just doing a straight stitch and then zigzagging this as well, since it's, again, hidden within the facing, so you won't see this, and it's not gonna be touching skin either. So I finally figured out that I did have to insert the straps into the corners, like when the facing is still not done yet. So I'm just putting them in there, and yeah, just figure out where you want to have them, and I put them at the edges of the top, obviously. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. And then I'm just doing a little rolled hem on that facing as well, because I don't want that to fray, and I just thought that rolled hem was going to be the easiest. I don't have a serger, otherwise I probably would have done that, but yeah, I thought a rolled hem would work best on the facing as well. So I'm just doing that all around facing here. I'm doing that with a straight, like just closing that with a straight stitch, as you can see here, and then ironing that later on as well. I didn't film myself ironing, but you know that you need to iron that. And then I'm just top stitching the facing down to that zigzagged edge that we made earlier. So I want it to sit nicely, so that's why I did that, just to really finish it off. So yeah, that's it. That's the top I made. I really like layering this over a little mock neck top or just a long sleeve. It's nice in the summer. I think it falls quite nicely now that it's cut on the bias as well. It's got a little scooped back, which I love. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this came out. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully see you next time. Bye.